What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video of PM Performance Garage. On today's episode, we're just going to be talking about the build and what I have in store for you guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. This will be episode 1 of the K24 K20 Supercharged Build series. On today's episode, we're just going to be talking about the build plan, what my goals are for this build. So without further ado, let's get it started. All right, as some of you guys may know, I am running a K24 bottom end, K24A to be specific, and a K20 top end head. Most of you guys will call this a Frankenstein build. Absolutely, that's what it is. Taking a K24 bottom end and putting a K20 top end on top of that to make some ridiculous power. But here's the kicker: we're gonna throw a supercharger on there, and the supercharger in particular that I'm looking to purchase would be a Merc Racing TVS 1900 2300. I haven't really decided on which one I should go with. I feel like 2300 would be a little overkill, but you know, why not? The price difference really it's not that much, honestly, from the 1900 to the 2300. My goals are 450 to 500 wheel. I think that's easily attainable with this setup. Of course, going E85. So let's start with the block. The K24A that I have chosen happens to be out of an Accord. Yes, it is JDM, but it's a non-VTEC, which means that the head will not work. Of course, we're not using that anyways. The block, the pistons, you can't just slap a K20 head onto a K24 of that. Because like I said, it came out of a cord. So there's going to be piston to valve contact, and we do not want that. We want a good, reliable motor. So with that being said, the motor will have to be rebuilt as far as, you know, pistons, rods, and the sort. No big deal. I actually got the K24A out of Accord for pretty cheap, which makes sense. I have to rebuild everything. I will be utilizing the stock crank out of the K24, but upgrading the oil pump and pistons and rods, etc. With the bottom end, saying as though that I will have to rebuild the bottom end, I'm looking to get JE pistons and K1 rods. I heard those were really good, and we'll be going that route. I'm looking for an ideal compression ratio of 10.5 to 1 or somewhere in that realm, especially if I'm going E85. There'll be some room, you know, to work with since I'm boosting it. As for the head, we will be fully rebuilding that, titanium retainers, dual springs for sure. And since this is just it's 400, just stay with stock valves, exhaust and intake. With a fully built head and a fully built block, I believe 450 to 500 is easily attainable. Down the road, if I decide to go turbo instead of supercharger, that will be a great starting point, I think. Now, I will be experimenting with some tuning of my own. I did have a guy in Maryland that I tuned with, and I'll leave his information in the bottom here. Saying that I moved to Georgia, I wouldn't say there's none, I just haven't looked around yet. Reputable Honda tuners. So I'm going to dabble in it a little bit, but not to the point where I'm blowing shit up. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube about K20, K24 bottom end, Frankenstein build. I'm sure this has been covered. You can go on to Hobby Racing. They actually have a build guide on how to do the K20, K24 and all the things you may need. So my goal for this build is to make a reliable and daily driven vehicle reliable. That's the main thing, reliable. So there's no cheaping out, there's no budget builds here. Straight power and reliability. Now let's talk about the supercharger choice. Now I decided to go with Merc Racing. I don't really see a lot of people running Merc Racing, especially in the Honda community. Merc Racing is a reputable source for superchargers. They do it all from Hondas, Audi, you name it, they have it. No, this video is not sponsored by Merc Racing. I wish. Yes, I know I mentioned E85. Here in Georgia, E85 is readily available for consumption, the car's consumption. And I think that fuel setup will be perfect for this build. Well, that is it for this video. Like I said, I will be uploading every Sunday. I will be filming from Friday to Sunday, uploading on Sunday. Make sure you guys have the scoop. If you guys love the content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. But until then, see you guys on the next episode. Peace.